Can you hear that? That's the sound of peace. It took me a long time to learn what it sounds like. Not the cheering of crowds, not the clinking of glasses, not the ringing of coins. Just this. The pop of burning wood and the wind slipping through the cracks in the old farmhouse walls. Sit down, eh? There's space by the fire. It's warm here, and the world's quiet. No reason to rush. You know, when I first left Birmingham, I didn't think silence would suit me. I'd lived too long in the noise. The gunfire, the shouting, the endless bloody deals. But the quiet, it has its own voice. You just have to listen long enough. The flames dance slow tonight, orange, gold and deep blue near the heart. Every now and then, a spark jumps up, bright for a moment, then gone. Reminds me of people that we burn, we blaze, then we fade. I used to think life was about making the biggest fire you could. Now I think it's about keeping it burning long enough to warm the people around you. Out here there's no business, no Shelby company, just the land, the horses, and the sound of fire. When I came to this place, the fields were empty, dry, forgotten. But bit by bit, the green came back, and I watched it grow. Didn't have to fight for it. Didn't have to take it from anyone. Just gave it time. And that was new for me. Used to be, I thought time was my enemy. Always racing against it. Always one step ahead. Thinking I could outsmart the clock. But the fire doesn't rush, does it? It burns the way it wants to. Slow. Steady. If you feed it too much, it chokes. If you leave it alone, it dies. Balance. That's the trick. I suppose that's what I've been learning here. How to live in balance. How to let the world move without trying to run it. Sometimes I sit here and think about the men. Arthur, John, Polly. Their faces come and go with the flames. Not ghosts, not exactly, just echoes. I remember John's laugh, loud and bright, shaking through the garrison walls. And Arthur, all fire and fury, but a good heart, buried deep under it all. And Polly, Christ, she'd have told me to stop talking like this. Said I was getting soft. Maybe she'd be right. Maybe soft isn't such a bad thing. When she's been hard for too long, every now and then I pour a glass, raise it to them. The flame flickers, like it knows their names. You can lose a lot of things in life. Money, land, power. But the ones who walked beside you, they stay somewhere inside, even when the noise stops, even when you're sitting alone, with nothing but the sound of fire. That's when you feel them most, in the quiet. It's funny how fire changes the way you think. You look into it long enough and the world starts to make sense. All that chaos, all that smoke, it burns down to ash in the end, but in that ash there's warmth, there's memory. You start to see that not everything needs to be won. Some things are meant to be released. There was a time when I couldn't sleep at all. Closed my eyes, and all I'd see were trenches, faces, gunfire. You don't walk away from that untouched. But the land, it has a way of healing you, slowly. The first night I slept here, really slept, it was because I listened to this sound. The fire. It's like a heartbeat, steady and slow. I remember that the world keeps turning, with or without us. Sometimes I think about Grace, how she'd sit just like this, hands folded, watching the flames, smiling at the quiet. She used to say, "The fire doesn't need to roar, Tommy, it just needs to glow." Took me years to understand that. Used to think strength meant noise, meant fear, meant control. But sitting here now, watching these embers drift and fall, I think strength is something gentler. It's knowing when to stop, when to let the fire speak for you. She'd have liked to hear. The air's clean, the nights stretch wide, and when the stars come out, they look close enough to touch. I remember once, after a long day in the fields, I sat right here. Same chair, same fire, and I realised something. All my life, I'd been chasing peace, like it was a prize. But peace isn't a prize, it's a place. And sometimes, you have to build it with your own hands. The walls here, I built them myself, stacked, stone by stone. It took weeks, but it kept my mind quiet, hands in the dirt, sweat on my back, and the sound of the countryside around me. That was enough. Now every night ends the same way. Fire, glass of whiskey, the land breathing just beyond the door, Ruby asleep in the stable, and me, listening. Sometimes the wind carries the sound of the river. Sometimes it's just the whisper of the trees. But it's all the same language. The language of things that endure. You learn to understand it after a while. You start to move slower, speak softer, think less. That's how peace sounds when it finally comes for you. If you're listening to me now, if you're sitting here with me by this fire, you don't need to worry about the world outside. It'll keep spinning. Let it. Right now, this warmth is all that matters. Watch the light dance on the walls. Hear the logs settle into embers. The night has no demands. It asks for nothing. Just that you rest. Breathe in. Smoke, pine, a hint of rain. Breathe out. Let the weight go with it. That's it. Let it all fade. When I close my eyes, I see the city lights far away. Tiny sparks in the dark. But I don't miss them anymore. The deals, the noise, the constant fight to be something. Out here, I don't have to be Tommy Shelby. The name, the legend, just Tommy. A man with a fire, a field, and a bit of peace left in him. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all any of us ever needed. The fire's getting low now. The room's dim. The air cool against your skin. Listen. You can hear the last few pops. The quiet breath of the coals. The night pressing gently against the windows. This is the part where the world lets go. Where everything slows. Where even the fire sighs itself to sleep. So, close your eyes. Let the warmth stay with you. The fight's over. The night's long, and peace, for once, has found its way home. Good night, my friend. Rest easy. From one weary soul to another. The fire will keep watch, by order of the sleepy blinders.